Candyman. 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 Candyman.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. You said it 4 times now. One more. You gonna get Candyman.
Oh, you did it!
No!
Welcome to another episode of the Sons of Haddonfield. As always, I'm Ian, and this is Josh.
Yo! How's it going, people?
And we're here to talk to you about some really cool movies. The Candyman franchise. Shit.
Yes.
I just said it again.
Oh no, that's 5 now for you. We really are doomed now. But we don't have a mirror. There's no mirror.
Well, that's good.
We're good. We're good. No reflection. We're okay. The Candyman franchise, starting off in 1992 with the original Candyman.
Starring Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen.
Really the movie that put Tony Todd on the map. Kind of what he is known for.
Definitely one of the many roles of his that he is known for. He has over 200 credits.
Yeah, he does a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm. And TV.
And TV shows. Like The Flash.
Yeah, he was in that when it was good.
Yeah. Back in those days.
So, we're going to be talking about Candyman, Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, and briefly, very briefly, on Candyman 3, Day of the Dead.
We might touch on it, and that is about it.
Yeah.
Not our favorite movie.
I think that's the consensus from most people who watch Candyman.
I think so. Quick plot synopsis for Candyman, the original 1992 film, if you are not familiar. It's based around the urban legend of the Candyman, who, if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he supposedly appears having a hook for a hand.
And he'll gut you.
From groin to gullet. The story goes is that he was a painter and hired to paint a portrait.
Back in the Civil War era?
Way back, a long time ago. And the girl that he was painting the portrait of and himself, Daniel Robitaille, fell in love. And he was then chased and killed.
Murdered by a bunch of racists.
Yeah, those people.
And they cut off his hand, replaced it with the hook.
Spread honey all over his body.
And sicked them murder hornets on him.
Yeah. And that is right, he got the name Candyman.
Because they were shouting it at him.
Yeah.
Horrible people.
Horrible people. So, the movie centers around a young woman who is writing a thesis about Candyman.
And the mythology.
What goes kind of behind it, how the urban legend came to be. And goes to the area where the murders have happened, and she's just trying to learn about them.
Cabrini Green.
Mm-hmm. Which is a real place.
Mm-hmm. Or was.
Yeah, it was in Chicago. Fun fact about that is the production crew had to pay
real gang members.
Yeah, the how you want to say this, the not so friendly
gang members
residents of Cabrini Green there to basically pay them off, to not murder them while they were filming this movie.
They got to be in it too.
Yeah, they got to be in it as extras. Kind of, what would it be like working in those circumstances?
Well, it would be intense. Apparently there were cop snipers in the area, according to Tony Todd, and there was a grocery store where everyone did their shopping, but you weren't allowed to go there after 10 p.m. because then that's when all bets were off and chaos could
that's
break
when
out.
that's when the payoffs ended. Was at 10.
I guess. Yeah.
No, I think that's a great setting for a horror movie. I think it kind of amplifies the fear, probably because they're already kind of tense. They're already probably kind of on edge, and then you're acting afraid and being afraid in the movie. So I think it probably works to their advantage, and it probably pays off nicely.
It did.
And luckily, Tony Todd or Virginia Madsen or any other actors were killed.
Yeah, everyone was fine.
Yeah. Thankfully.
Thankfully.
So the bees are a big theme
Mm-hmm.
in this movie, right? Because Candyman, he has the bees, such iconic scenes,
very
iconic
iconic.
imagery. In horror lore is with Tony Todd, the bees coming out of his mouth, and then he opens up his trench coat, and he's got the bees in the
Coming out of his
skeleton
skeleton.
system. That's awesome. Those are not CGI bees.
No, they were real bees. 12 hours old, so they weren't supposed to have developed stingers.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. However, so there was a bee wrangler,
A bee wrangler.
and his name was Dr. Norman Gary, and Tony Todd was nervous to be around the bees, of course. So he's like, "Hey, here's the trailer of the bees. You gotta go in there." So he did.
So the bees had their own trailer.
The bees had their own trailer.
So the bees were like a star of the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
You got
pretty
Tony
much.
Todd, you got Virginia Madison, you got the bees.
Xander Berkeley and Ted Raimi and other people. Yes, so he had Tony name him. He's like, okay, I'm not crazy, call that one Henry, call this one whatever, just random names, and personalize them. And so that took away the fear that he had of working with the bees.
It was not for me.
I know, because you're allergic.
I'm allergic to bees, as was Virginia Madsen.
Yep.
Also allergic to bees.
Mm-hmm. And she had to take an allergy test because she told the director she was allergic to bees, and he didn't believe her at first.
Bernard Rose was like, "Nah, you're not really allergic to bees, girl." Like what?
And so it came back, she was allergic to bees.
She was telling the truth. Go figure.
And so they had paramedics and stuff standing by, and when the just to be on the safe side for anybody.
Well, there's a lot of bees in the movie.
Yeah, and so
the bee wrangler couldn't wrangle them all.
when they were filming, they had nets, scenes shot in nets, so the bees couldn't get out, and everyone else was standing outside, but the people inside.
Call me crazy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm allergic to bees, and I'm pretty badly allergic to bees. I don't know how bad Virginia Madsen was allergic to bees. But if someone comes and asks me to do a job where I'm going to be working closely with bees, you know what I'm going to say?
No.
Hell no, I'm not going to do this.
Money talks, I'm sure.
I guess.
And I'm sure it was pretty safe. They had people standing by. They were young bees.
You say it was
They took
pretty
all
safe. Yet
the
Tony Todd
precautions.
was stung how many times?
26 to 27 times.
26, 27 times by
According to
these bees that were supposed to not be able to sting you.
As much. They did have paramedics standing by. Let's keep that in mind.
Something not adding up here. I'm not doing this. If I'm allergic to bees, I'm not doing this job.
Well, hey, would you have if you worked out every time you got stung you got an extra payout?
I would die.
No.
I would not be
They give
here.
you the needle.
They give me the EpiPen.
Yeah,
Great.
and you'll be fine.
I'll be
That-
fine.
that's why-
Just a traumatic life experience.
That's why they have EpiPens.
It's got to be a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's the story about that. And so yeah, he wasn't afraid of it, and Tony Todd got the role. Originally, he got a phone call and thought they were joking, but eventually, he worked it out. And he said the studio originally wanted an Eddie Murphy type character, and they wanted to make it comedic, which wouldn't work.
No, I can't.
For
I
this
can't
kind of
picture
film.
that as a
Yeah,
Candyman
it
at
would
all.
not have been the same. And
It's funny because to me, the original Candyman is actually one of the horror movies that I actually find genuinely unsettling.
Yeah,
It's
it's
genuinely
terrifying.
a creepy movie, and the atmosphere, the mood of the movie, everything about it is it's creepy. So I can't even picture this as trying to make it a comedic movie.
So Bernard Rose was able to convince the studio that was not the right way to go, and thankfully, all of you horror fans and all of us in this room here,
all two of us.
all two of us, we lucked out and we benefited from them not making Candyman a comedy.
And it has turned into such an icon. Freddy and Jason's, and you put Candyman up there in that category.
Definitely,
I think.
yeah.
Even though, in my opinion, he's not a true slasher.
It's not a slasher.
It's
as
not a
much.
slasher
It's
movie.
kind of like a gothic love story.
Yeah.
Is how everyone always refers to it, and that's how I see it too.
Definitely. I really love the camera work in the original.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautiful cinematography. The acting, of course, you got all of these amazing actors spot on. From Tony Todd down to the Xander Berkeley, who is the
Plays
character
Trevor Lyle.
we don't like in the movie.
You're supposed to hate the cheating bastard.
And you do. They do a good job making sure you do. Vanessa Williams is great. The whole cast is phenomenal, and it was the first movie that I remember ever seeing Virginia Madsen do. So
it's one of the first ones I remember too. Like at least it's the one that stands out in my brain, which is kind of funny. Because I watched the Shout Factory interviews because I wanted to learn stuff about the movie that I didn't know. And in the interview, she said she wasn't originally supposed to have that role. It was supposed to be the director's wife, but she was pregnant at the time, or became pregnant. And so his wife was like, hey, I don't want anyone else but Virginia Madsen to play me. So that's how she got the role.
Nice. And the rest is history. Or the rest is her story.
It's both. Yes, and so I like what you did there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So she, got the role, and she was an executive producer, and she had the final sign off on Tony Todd getting the role. So that was cool that they had good chemistry. They took ballroom lessons and horseback riding to develop that chemistry that you see in the movie.
That's cool that they took the time to actually develop that chemistry. So a lot of times it feels so forced. And even when you're talking with a villain and a hero, a protagonist and an antagonist, they still have to have chemistry. Because if they don't, it's still going to show in the film, even though they're not really supposed to like each other. And in this case, there's more than just not liking each other. There's a certain...
There's that unrequited love aspect
that they have to have. And if you don't, if that chemistry is off, this movie doesn't work as nearly as well as it does.
No, it doesn't. And another thing I learned that I thought was pretty cool was that the director took her, Virginia Madsen, to get hypnotized. And, she's like, she didn't originally believe it was going to work, but then... eventually, she was kind of hypnotized a little bit. And it took 12 minutes to do each hypnotism.
So you're talking the hypnosis began on all of those, like when Candyman, when Tony Todd has that like pull over her, and she just has that kind of a blank stare at him. Yeah, she's absolutely being hypnotized there.
She said she would never do it again.
So let me get this straight, people. She's allergic to bees. And does this movie, and then, as if that's not bad enough, she agrees to be hypnotized during the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, what if there's an accident with the bees while you're being hypnotized?
Well, I don't know if she was hypnotized when the bees were there.
Just saying,
But either way, that's why they had paramedics standing by. And everything was safe, according to her and everyone else in all the interviews. So, and I'll believe that.
I will believe it, too.
I will take their word for it.
I will.
That they felt safe. Even though I wouldn't have felt safe. For this last point that I'm going to mention about the first movie, the scene where she's set on fire, they filmed that in like a studio.
That's not a stunt double.
No, that was actually her, at least for part of it, where like her back is on fire and stuff like that. That was actually her, and she said she felt really safe about it and stuff, and they put all the makeup on after, and then she has respect.
I want to know what the call to her parents were like. Like, hey, Mom, I just got this awesome role, like a leading role. I'm really excited about it. Oh, that's great, honey. What do you get to do? Well, I get to be around thousands of bees all day. Oh, but honey, you're allergic. Oh, it's okay. They have EpiPens available. I also get to be hypnotized and set on fire.
That would have been you. I'm sure you could spin it in a way that's not as dramatic.
Talk about having... so much respect for Virginia Madsen for doing this role, and she is incredible in it. She's amazing in it.
Amazing.
I love her to death in this movie, but oh my goodness, I would have passed 1,000 times. No, thank you.
Oh yes, and the other thing, speaking of dick moves and things that you're like, oh no, this is bad.
No.
The scene where the hook comes through the medicine cabinet wall, she didn't know that was going to happen, and the director had Tony Todd do it. And then, so that's really her being afraid as she runs out of the room and slams the door because the hook was coming through the wall.
Oh yeah. Also, Mom, they're not really telling me the entire script. They're just like randomly scaring me on set. But it's okay. I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
But Tony Todd felt bad about it. He didn't really want to do it, but then they did it. So I thought that was interesting to know from her interview on the disc too.
I think it's a very important movie with the racial aspects that you get in Candyman. Yeah. So it's really important in that aspect.
And it's a classic.
Everyone
loves this movie.
It is so well done. It is so well made.
Yeah. So well done.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and the average age, apparently, of people, when Tony Todd would talk to people about when they saw this, and they're like, oh, it scared the crap out of me. They're like, oh, I was 5.
That's perfect.
I was like, okay.
Because I just introduced my 5-year-old to Candyman last night.
Well, sort of. He kind of walked in.
Yeah, he only saw about half of it. He was telling me later that he loved when Candyman killed the person with the
he walked downstairs at the wrong time.
But hey, that's my 5-year-old. He gets very excited about gory deaths, apparently.
For cinemas.
So that was in 1992. We don't have another Candyman again until 1995.
With Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh.
Completely different story. It is no longer in Chicago, in the urban Chicago area of Cabrini Green. It is now moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. During Mardi Gras. A lot of people don't like this movie.
I know.
A lot of people really, really don't like this movie.
I know.
I love this movie.
But we love it, yeah.
It is so good in my opinion.
I love that they brought in the backstory and all this stuff to the film. It's great. I think it stands up to the original, although the original is like slightly above in my ratings of the two. But I mean, I have them ranked both at 5 stars. But I mean, I'd give the original a little bit of an edge just because I've seen it more times.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and the original is such a classic. It's just a completely original story that they were making. Candyman 2 is, of course, they already had the character of Candyman. They knew what to do. So, yeah, you gotta give the original a little bit more credit. But Farewell to the Flesh is extremely underrated. The things that people love about Candyman are Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Right? And
He's
you
in
get
all the
more
movies.
Tony Todd in this movie than you do in the original. You get not only more of him as Candyman, but you get him as Daniel Robitaille, the man he was before he turned into Candyman.
And that's where you get the backstory.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So you get to see Tony Todd kind of in a more diverse role than just being Candyman. You still have very good acting.
Vanessa Cartwright plays the mom of the lead actress.
Yeah.
She's well known from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. She was in the original Alien. So yeah, she's a terrific actress also.
And it doesn't follow, it's not a continuation of the first original Candyman.
It's like a retelling.
Yeah, but it's a great story. I'm there for the story also. So I'm not entirely sure why this movie gets so much hate.
Well, I think because it doesn't connect the Virginia Madsen when she comes back at the end of that. That might be one of the reasons. I don't know. I haven't really talked to a ton of people about it, but that would be my only thought.
So in Farewell to the Flesh, like we said, it takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana, and follows a girl who is trying to save her brother and her mother, and kind of the rest of her family from this curse of Candyman always killing people in their family.
Yeah, they were related, and they lived near the area where the slave quarters were, and all the horrible stuff happened.
Yeah, it turns out that their house is built on the slave quarters, like you said, and
they're related.
They're related to Daniel Robitaille, the man before Candyman. So it's kind of a cool connection like that. I, for one, love New Orleans as a setting. I don't think
it's not used a lot.
Yeah, there's the Hatchet franchise, which Adam Green does a great job.
Has
Tony Todd in it as Dr. Voodoo. But I don't think New Orleans is really utilized as much as it should be as a horror film location. So I love the setting. I like all the antics and the Mardi Gras parade as they're trying to, it's just kind of in the backdrop, and
Yeah,
you
as they're
can
running
feel
from
that. Yeah, you can feel that in the movie, and I like that. I appreciate that. It's kind of its own character.
I'd agree. Much like in the first one, Chicago
Yeah,
is its own character.
yeah. It kind of took that same feeling and just moved it to a different city, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It continues the story. We pretty much summed it up.
Yeah, I mean, I have it 4.5 or 5 stars. I gave Candyman 5 stars.
Yeah.
Then we move to 1990, 97?
I don't know.
I think it was 97, to Candyman 3,
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead.
Which basically swapped, again, moved cities from Louisiana to LA. The acting is a step down.
It's a very big step down from Farewell to the Flesh.
Yeah, as far as like the majority of the cast, Tony Todd is still excellent in it as always. It had Sue Garcia or Nick Corey, whichever you want to call him, who was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and then another couple actresses and actors, but I mean it kind of falls flat.
The story is kind of all over the place. I wasn't entirely sure what the writer and director were trying to tell with this movie.
It still touches on some of the racial issues and things like that.
Yeah.
Of the story, but I mean, honestly, it's lacking.
They kind of changed the way that Daniel Robitaille was killed from Farewell to the Flesh.
A little bit, yeah.
It's the same basic concept, but they changed like how it happened a little bit, which I didn't really like. Like the acting, not great. There's a couple standouts. Nick Corey was kind of a standout, but there's a couple cool scenes.
Yeah, a couple cool deaths, but a lot of CGI and
a lot of CGI and a lot of off-screen deaths too. A lot of off-screen kills that were just kind of like, really, it's kind of lame. Not even going to show us anything.
Random stuff that pops in. But
I feel like Tony Todd wasn't in it as much as probably Farewell to the Flesh.
Yeah, I know in the interviews and things I've seen, he doesn't really like the third one a lot. I don't blame him. But,
no, I don't blame him either.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all we have to say about it as far as I know.
So I think we're both in agreement here. Our ranking of the franchise right now would be the original Candyman at number 1, Candyman number 2, Farewell to the Flesh at number 2, and Candyman Day of the Dead, the third Candyman, at number 3.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, we are both extremely excited for the new Candyman movie coming out tomorrow. Tony Todd reprising his role as Candyman, Daniel Robitaille. So I'm extremely excited to see this.
From the trailers, it looks like they moved it back to Chicago, which is pretty cool to see how that ties in.
Yeah, and I think it's coming out at the right time. I think America needs more horror movies like this, assuming that it touches on some of the aspects that the originals did. I think we need more horror movies. We need more representation in horror movies right now. And so I am very, very excited to see this movie.
Yeah, very excited.
It's one of my most anticipated movies of the year, right below Halloween Kills.
Definitely gotta rep the,
you're repping
the Candyman.
You got the Candyman t-shirt on. I do not.
Yeah, long sleeve. Shouldn't be wearing long sleeve. It's the end of summer. Figured I'd just pop it on for the video though, to rep it, because Candyman rocks.
We will probably do a Candyman 2021 review video at some point after we see the movie. I think that's all we have for you tonight. So let us know in the comments below how excited you are for the new Candyman, and tell us which one of the original 3 is your favorite. I'm guessing it's probably going to be the original, but hey, it might not be. Maybe you just really love Day of the Dead. Let us know. Sound off in the comments below. You're already here. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that little bell so you get notified every time we post a new video. You can also follow us on Instagram
at I Bet Joe
and
Horror Sensei.
Horror Sensei.
He changed his name up.
I changed it up. I'm no longer Husker Sensei on Instagram. I'm Horror Sensei. Felt I represented the brand a little bit better. You can still find me at Husker Sensei on Letterboxd because I don't know how to change that.
And I'm I Bet Joe on there. And we're also on Twitter at Haddonfield Suns.
Until next time.
Peace. Don't say his name.